Hi everyone and welcome to my studio here in southern Spain. My name's Daniela and I'm also Duquesa girl, and I'm going to show you today how to make perfect mug wraps for your sublimation mugs. So we're going to be using Canva, Photoshop, the Sawgrass Print Manager and of course your mug press. So without further ado, let's get right onto it.
I tend to use Canva quite a lot for my my image designs, especially if I'm writing words. It's quite user friendly, and you know there's a lot of stock images and fonts that you can use. For this particular mug, the customer wants Doris. She doesn't want a heart because it's actually a friend. This canvas is the size that I need for my mug, so you can create the size. If you wanted to resize it, you can go up here and resize it, but this is 7 by 8.5 centimeters, which is the size that I wanted for my mug. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because I don't want the other side of the mug to be too plain, and she actually wanted it in a different color. So I think she wanted one lilac, one pink, one purple. So we're going to change the colour of the word. I'm thinking I'm going to go a bit darker, so you can move it up here. And then all you're going to do is you're going to download it, take it up to the highest quality size that you can, and also click transparent background. And then that's nice and easy. And then that will download onto my computer.
Okay, so now we've done that section in Canva, we're going to create the template for the mug wrap. So I'm going to do new, and you can create your own size templates. I use various sizes of templates. This one in particular is going to be 22 by 8.5 centimeters. Obviously you can change that there. This isn't a full wrap of the mug to the top. So if you're doing some kind of wallpaper background, you would choose a slightly higher one because the mug's actually 9 centimeters high and you'd want less of a white edge. And we're going to open the image that I want on one side of the mug, and then we're going to open the other side of the mug as well. So there's Doris that we've just done in Canva. And what you do is you keep your finger on the mouse on the left click and drag down away from the top there, and then do the same again with your image on the other side of the mug, and this leaves you with the template here. What you're going to do next is choose the move tool, which is this little cross with the arrows in, and again with your left mouse click, keep it down until you see that little plus sign there, and then drag and drop. So that one's over there. We can delete that now. We can close it down. As you can see, we downloaded Doris as a transparent, so the only thing that's going to move over is Doris. Remember, when you're sublimating, white isn't going to sublimate anyway, so it's not a huge problem if there is a white background here. I just prefer to work with a transparent background. So we're going to do the same. We're going to left click and we're going to drag and drop, and then we can close that one down because you don't need it anymore. And what we're going to do is we're just going to resize the images to make sure that they're going to fit on the wrap. Photoshop has this really cool thing where you can see there it's going to hit the edge. It's not going to go any further if you don't want it to. Kind of gives you a little guide as to where it is. Now with this being not 100, this is 8.5 centimeters high, so I can get it quite to the edge because this isn't as high as the mug is actually going to be. So the mug's just over 9 centimeters, so it's not going to be right at the edge of the mug because you don't want it too close to the edge when you've got something like this. That one kind of needs to come over a little bit more. Remember, this isn't the full size of the mug wrap, so I always like to put it a little bit over. If you do make a mistake and you print out your wrap, it's not a huge problem because you can actually just cut down the middle here and tape it, but it's easier if you get it right in the first place. So that's my mug wrap 1. I'm going to file, save as, and I'm going to save that as actually, I'm going to save that as mug 1 in Photoshop. Okay, so not PNG. I'm going to save it as Photoshop. Save that. Press OK. We've completed that mug wrap, but my customer wanted 3. So in order to save on the sublimation paper, I'm going to put 3 on the same page. In order to do that, I'm going to print at A3. Now I have a Sawgrass 1000, which can print on A3. Obviously, if you've got a smaller printer, then you would have to work it out as to how many you can fit on. So I'm just going to do another custom template here. This is just under A3. I'm going to click create, and then I'm going to open up one of my mug wraps. So mug wrap 1. Just before I open up the other 2, I'm going to click on all the layers. So you press your control key down and click on the layers, right click, and then merge the layers together. I'm going to do that for all 3 of my mugs. So mug wrap 2, I'm going to do control key, click, right click, merge layers, and then open the 3rd one, mug 3, again control key and click on all the layers and merge them together. Then we're going to do exactly the same as we did before. We're going to drag down the images, so there's the 3 mug wraps and the template, the A3 template. Make sure that your move tool is highlighted again, and then left click and drag it so that you see the plus sign there. And I'm going to close that one down so I don't get confused. I'm not going to save it because that was different because we obviously merged the layers. Close that. I'm going to save, and then the last one I'm going to pop down there. I'm going to close that as well. Save. So here you can see that we have the 3 different mug wraps all going on an A3 paper. And I'm going to line them up just because it makes it easier when I'm slicing them later, because obviously the straighter the lines you get, the easier it is to cut later on and straighten out on your mug. I'm just going to save that as prints. And I'm going to save this one as a PNG. And then press save. And that's it. Now that we've completed our print template for the 3 different mug wraps, I'm going to be printing it through the Sawgrass Smart Folder option. If you do have a Sawgrass, you do get Creative Studio for free. And that is good for creating designs, but it's not very good if you want to print 3 different designs on the same page. So if you're printing 3 of the same designs, or 2 of the same designs, or just 1, then you can use Creative Studio. I will do another video on how to use that. But I've found that it's much easier to go through the Photoshop option and then drag and drop. So all you have to do, make sure your Sawgrass is on. Drag it down into the Sawgrass Smart folder, and it will automatically bring up the Print Manager. So you can choose different options as to what you want on your substrate, what the substrate is going to be. This is obviously going to be a ceramic mug. I am using the TruePix Classic paper, and I want it to be high quality. Then, so you can see here that it's automatically mirrored my image. Now this is really important. If you're a left-hander or a right-handed mug, the image usually goes on the outside. So when we were creating that in Photoshop earlier, the image of the tomatoes was actually on the left side. But now that it's been mirrored, the image is on the right side. So this is going to be a wrap for a right-handed mug, which usually the image goes on the outside. And we're going to choose the layout. You can either preserve the layout from the designer, which is you, and there you go. It's not much different because I obviously did it slightly smaller. Or you can have the print manager perform the layout, and you can choose center, trim white space, impose margins, and it's already set to A3. I'm going to leave it at the print manager because there's not much in it. Then here, if you wanted to change slightly the parameters, maybe you didn't do it as exactly, you can actually make the width or the height bigger than it is. But I'm pretty happy with 29.5 and 41.5, which is where we started, and the pixels. If you want to change the color as well, you can go into color, photographic mode or vivid mode, and it just gives you the different color, just gives you the different finish. I'm going to slightly move it into more of the red zone, and that's it. So if this looks okay, you just go ahead and print. And there we go. And that, it's as simple as that. That will then come out of the Sawgrass. Leave it for about 5 minutes to dry, and then we can move on to the next step. So I just wanted to give you a little piece of advice as well about your paper. So I have the TruePix Classic Sublimation paper, and I have it in A3, but obviously I do not want to be wasting a load of paper if I'm only going to be doing 1 or 2 mug wraps on that page. Now you can either wait until you've got a load of items that you want to print, or what you can do is you can actually fold this in half, cut it down and make it into A4. And then what I do is in my Sawgrass 1000, I actually just put a pile of this cut in half to A4 size into the printer. So it's a good tip if you want to save money and not waste your sublimation paper if you have it in A3 size. Okay, so for those who are paying attention to the last bit, you'll notice that these are not the same mug wraps that I did on Photoshop and Canva, but their principle is the same. Unfortunately, that order had to go out quite quickly. So I'm just going to show you with a different set of mug wraps, but it's the same principle. So I would highly advise you get a mat, a cutting mat with the lines on it, because the straighter your edges are on the mug wrap, the easier it is when you actually come to wrap the mugs. So I'm going to score this line here, cut this line against the line so that now I have a nice straight edged mug wrap to use. And I'll do the same with the other two as well, but we're just going to use this one for the video. So remember that if you are wanting to sublimate on mugs, you need a special mug. These ones come with a little plastic wrapper to protect the coating. There's a special coating over this mug, which means that the sublimation ink will actually embed itself into this mug. You can't just take any old ceramic mug and take it off the shelf and sublimate on it. It will not work. The other thing we're going to need is some heat resistant tape. Now I have it in few different sizes, different thickness. I like to go with the thicker size. You're going to take your mug wrap, and remember, left-handed, right-handed. If you are doing them to order, I learned, ask them if they're left or right-handed. And this is where those nice straight lines come in. You're going to take your heat resistance tape it nice and tightly, like so, and then take the other side. Make sure it's straight. Tape up the other side, and there you go. It's good to go. Turn on your heat press. This one, we're just going to switch it on. Much testing has been done, but we're going to have it at 180 degrees centigrade for 180 seconds. I could have this one at a different temperature, but I'm not even going to use it because I'm just doing the one mug press. So we're going to set this off by pressing this little red button. And what it's going to do is it's just going to heat up to the resting temperature of 170 before we move on to the next bit. So now we're at the resting temperature. It is beeping at me. So we're going to put the mug in and press off the timer. Now what happens with this mug press is that it will start heating up to the temperature you want it. So it was 170 for resting, and this one is going to go up to the 180 that we want it at. As soon as it goes up to the 180, this will start counting down from 180 seconds. Because remember, when you put your mug in, it's going to drop the temperature. You can see here it's dropped right to 150. So it's going to drop the temperature of the heat press. So you really need to make sure that the mug is at the right temperature with the heat press. So we're going to wait until this pops back up to 180 and then it will start counting down. We've just hit 180 and now this is going to start counting down. Okay, so this has stopped now, so we're going to press the button again. We're going to release. Remember, this mug will be hot. The handle will be okay, but this mug will be hot. So now we're going to peel off. I'm going to switch this around. We're going to peel off very carefully the heat tape and the mug wrap. Sometimes it does stick a little bit. Maybe a bit of paper will stick on, which you can always get off at a later date. So here we go. There's my little love gnomes. I'm sure you can see it. My little love gnomes there on the mug. So leave that to cool down. So there you have it. That's how you make your mug using sublimation, Canva, Photoshop, Sawgrass Print Manager, and of course your mug press. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you've learnt something new. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments box. And if you want to see future videos from me, please click subscribe. That's all from me here in southern Spain. De Casa Girl, happy crafting!